Aloha! I'm Stuart K. Hayashi, coming at you from Hawaii, from the island of Oahu, and this video is an unboxing video. I intend to unbox for you this new box, perhaps I should say can, of 48 Prismacolor colored pencils. This is my new box, as opposed to my two older boxes, which I will be telling you about in more detail. But this is sort of a continuation. You might recall my previous unboxing video was about these two DVD sets from the series Ultraman. This is Volume 1, and this is Volume 2, yet Volume 2 is actually an older print, and the corporate label on this one is BCI. The label on this one is Mill Creek. And as my cousin told me, what my cousin told me was true. The one labeled BCI, to me, is of a higher quality. It's more reliable. The picture is sharper. The Mill Creek one, sometimes the picture will get grainy and fuzzy. But anyway, this is my unboxing video. I wanted to show off for you some of the new art supplies I got for myself. So, perhaps I should give you some background information on sort of my current artistic obsessions. So you might recall the Super Mario Brothers franchise from Nintendo. It's a video game franchise. It's very popular, really. This is the rule book from Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo from the early 1990s. And you might recall that the villain that Mario fights is Bowser, as depicted over here. And these are his children. At least that's what they called him back in the 1990s. Someone told me that now they're just kids from the same species as Bowser's. They're not called as kids. I don't like that. I prefer them to be as kids. And you might notice how I appreciate giant monster shows like Godzilla and, well, Ultraman. So I was always fascinated by the design of Bowser and the Koopa Kids, because you might recall from the video games that Bowser shoots fire. His face is dragon-like. Basically, he's a dragon in a tortoise shell, and I thought that was very original. I mean, when you watch Godzilla movies or Ultraman or even Gamera, you don't see monsters that have very explicitly dragon-like faces but have a tortoise carapace. So I thought Bowser was a very original design. Now I thought, why aren't there giant monsters who fight Godzilla who look like this? Turns out it wasn't. The design is not as original as I thought, because there are actually statues throughout China from the medieval period that are of dragons in tortoise shells. They have their faces are, stereotypically what you expect of a Chinese dragon, with the horns and the mane and the long fleshy whiskers, which are actually catfish barbells. The whiskers on a catfish are actually barbells, and that's what they're called. So actually, throughout the medieval period, there were lots of statues of dragons with tortoise shells. But that makes it all, and basically they're considered benign. They would guard the palace. The idea is that they're very ferocious looking, but they're the good guys. They guard the emperor. They guard someone who's considered important. But that makes it all stranger to me that there aren't daikaiju that look like this, that look like dragons in tortoise shells. Especially since that's actually a very traditional monster from medieval China. You notice how because everything in the Mario games are very cutesy in how they're designed. Not just Bowser's kids, but even Bowser himself is very cutesy looking, with very neotenous features. You know, it's proportionately large head, and I would say almost no neck, or just plain no neck at all. So I thought, what if Bowser was drawn realistically, meaning, you know, he looks like with a realistic texture, like Godzilla, you know, with a realistic reptilian texture. So I thought I would try that. That would be my project, realistic Bowser. Although, as one YouTube vlogger, Living Corpse X, puts it, realistic is not the precise word, because in real life, something like Bowser could not exist. It defies the laws of physiology, of chemistry, of natural selection. So he said the better word is convincing. When you see it, you can suspend disbelief. It's psychologically convincing, not objectively realistic in some scientific sense, but just convincing enough for you. So that was my project for the past few months. I should tell you my process. So first, when I want to draw a monster, whether one I invent myself or, you know, someone that's inspired by, or if I want to do a fan drawing of a monster that's been inspired by other media, such as, say, Godzilla or one of his opponents, or the opponents of Ultraman. First, I get folder paper and I do a rather simple sketch. So this is my simple sketch of realistic Bowser. Notice how he's not without a neck like the cartoon version from video games. I want him to have sort of a long neck, like Godzilla. And I decided to give him sort of at the end of his tail, there's like a mace. It's a round ball with spikes jutting out, similar to how his carapace is covered in spikes. So when I have an idea of what I want, a simpler version, I move on to a fancier drawing. By the way, I use a clipboard for when I use to do normal drawing with a normal size sheet of paper. This clipboard is made of masonite. Masonite is the material that's used for the desks in elementary school desks. So I decided to do some fancier drawings in just pencils, and I use this colored pencil. Colored pencil there, it's just easier to use colored pencil than have to sharpen a normal pencil manually. But actually, you know, there are no mechanical colored pencils, unfortunately. So I do have to use a manual pencil sharpener after all when it comes to colored pencils. So when I do a fancier drawing, it looks like this. I hope it shows up on YouTube. So this is from 2015. I did this one in 2015. So this is an earlier drawing of realistic Bowser. Oh yeah, and notice how he has this funny Bowser doesn't have this, but you might notice that on dinosaur feet are sort of chicken-like. They're like chicken feet. So they have sort of this weird toe that is high off the ground and off to the side. So I decided to give him that kind of toe. Here's a more recent one. That's from this one. Yeah, this one's from 2016. And he's reaching out at you. You know, this hand is reaching out at you, so I decided to make it big, exaggeratedly big. And again, the weird toe off at the side. And again, I stuck with the mace tail. Oh, and just for the heck of it, here's a werewolf I did. people on Twitter told me it looks like the werewolf from Altered Beast, the Sega video game. And well, I have to admit that Altered Beast was one of my favorites, so I guess it seeped into my subconscious. But anyway, I thought, let's move on to colored pencils. I want to show you a realistic Bowser, colored with the same color, basically with the same colors that you see him in the rule book. So this tortoise shell is green, even though tortoise shells are usually brown, and his skin is basically a yellow-orange. He has these ventral plates. It's on the chest area. It's called ventral. He has these plates. And he has an orange mane of hair. And his snout, his muzzle, is sort of the same color as human skin, actually. Sort of beige or peach. Not to be confused with Princess Peach. So here's my latest attempt at that. So again, I want him to have a long neck, unlike the cartoon one. In video games, I want my realistic Bowser to have a long neck, like Godzilla's. Notice the carapace is green, and most of the body is yellowish orange. And the ventral plates are sort of yellow. I don't know if it's clear from this video, but his snout is sort of the same color as my skin, sort of beige. And again, the weird toe off at the side. And I gave him the mace tail again. So I pretty much used up a lot of my colored pencils. I want to show you the state of some of my colored pencils. Some of them are still long like this, but many of them look, many of them look like this. Okay, so this is light. This one is light brown. This one is orange. Oh, this is my other two. Actually, these are both the same. I believe these are both the same. Exact same shade. Why do I have two of the same shade? Also, because I have two boxes from my high school days. This is white. This is black. And these are the ones that are particularly giving me problems. This is violet. And these are both of these are lilac. Purple especially gives me problems. So here's why. So I first started using colored pencils in high school, and most of my art is autodidactic, meaning most of what I know about art technique I taught myself. But in high school, a high school art teacher did tell me something important. She said that she says this is a very important rule. When you're coloring with colored pencils and you're making shade and shadow, don't use black to make shade and shadow. She said, say for instance, you're using green, a green object, such as a lizard. When you want to make shade and shadow, don't use black. And I asked her why. She said, if you do, it will make everything, the shade area will just look dull. She said, instead, use the opposite. If you want to make shade and shadow, use the opposite color, use red. And at first I said, what? If I mix opposite colors together, it's just going to come out an ugly brown. The shadowy area will be an ugly brown. She said, no, remember that every convincing drawing that looks three-dimensional is an illusion. Okay, you're mimicking an effect, an optical effect. Of course, it's not going to look exactly like the real object you're seeing. You're just mimicking the effect. And when you and the fact of the matter is that when you look at shadows in real life, it's not all black. Unless you're in the complete darkness, shadows are not black. When you see me right now, you see the areas of me that are in shadow. This is not all black. You just interpret it that way, but that's illusory. Shadows are not perfectly black when you're looking at something in light, such as a shadow on my arm here. So try it. So just try it. And I tried it, and she was correct. It doesn't look all. If I put red on the green to make shadow, it doesn't look all just an ugly brown. It does look like a darker shade of green. So this rule works for the most part. For most colors, you use the opposite. But there comes a huge problem. There comes a huge problem for two types of colors. For orange and flesh, colors used for human flesh. First, when it comes to these colored pencils, the orange is more yellow than it is red. By contrast, the blues are on the greenish side. They're more green. I mean, they're not just regular blue. They're sort of greenish blue. Therefore, when you have an orange object, such as Bowser here, and you use the blue to make shadow on it, the shadows come out this weird green. It's not even brown. It's just weird green. And I thought, how do I get around this problem? It turns out the proper color, at least with this brand of colored pencil, which is the Prismacolor, the proper color to shade for orange to make shadows is actually purple. Use purples for the oranges. That largely resolves the problem. Now, there's a similar problem if you're doing human skin. See, at first I thought, well, these shades are sort of orange, close to orange, right? I mean, of all the colors I can think of, they come closest to being orange. So again, I thought, well, I'll use blue. What happens is, again, shadows come out this strange greenish hue. And the person you're coloring looks sort of sickly and pale and diseased. It turns out if you want someone to look more healthier, more tanned, again, the color to use for shadowing is purple or lilac. So I ended up using purple a lot more than the other colors because I use it for shading. Oh, there's another context in which you use purple a lot. What if an object is all black? Okay, you don't just use black and white for an object. There's something else you can do. Parts of a black object will be cold and other parts will be hot. Therefore, if you want to indicate parts of the black object that are hot, mix the black with red. If you want parts of a black object to look cold, mix it with blue. And I found it's pretty. You can make for neutral. It's pretty good to use purple. So I used a lot of for when I drew black objects. I used a lot of purple. So again, because thanks to orange, thanks to trying to color with human skin, and thanks to the blacks, I would use purple a lot. So here's the problem. So this is the first box of color pencils I had from high school. And this is the second box I had also from high school. I want to show you okay. This is one shade of purple from the first box. This is all I have left of it. This is the exact same shade from the second box. And I'll tell you, when I did a realistic Bowser here, he did quite a number on those purple colored pencils. In fact, I was trying to be conservative with them because they're already too shortened already. And I think the drawing sort of suffered for it. Had I been less worried about the about using everything up, I would have applied. I would have pressed harder on the, in the shade areas, and I think this would have come out darker and more three-dimensional looking. So I got these new. Last week I got these new manual pencil sharpeners for the colored pencils. They're an improvement over the manual pencil sharpener I was using earlier, which came in this. And when I got this other color, when I got this one, I didn't take into account that when I try to put the pencil inside the sharpener, it's at this odd diagonal angle, and frankly, these colored pencils were too short to fit in this particular manual pencil sharpener. And these newer ones I think will be better, but even then, see, it's too short. So I need a new box, especially since, my green. I mean, I have other colors that are just used up already, like this green and this red. And I got this new box. And they're all the same brand. They're all Prismacolor, and they're a particular type called Premier. Prismacolor also sells colored pencils labeled Scholar. And for a long time I thought, what's the difference? So I looked it up. Turns out that the Scholar ones are for beginners. A lot of times when people are starting to use colored pencils, that they think they're like regular pencils, so they press too hard on them, and then the colored pencils break. So to help people with that transition, they have the Scholar colored pencils, which are harder to break, but they're also the Scholar ones are less vibrant. They're not as good a quality. The Premier ones break more easily. They're softer, but supposedly the result is that they come out with brighter colors. They're better for professionals. Now, I don't think of myself as as an expert or anything. I think of myself as still as an amateur. But I think I would. I think I'm at the point where I should go with the Premier ones. Oh, yeah, by the way, I also use push-up quick erasers. I make a lot of mistakes, so I have to erase a lot. And these erasers are easier on the paper than most other normal erasers. A lot of times when I use a normal eraser and I try to erase a big mistake, I make a big hole in the sheet of paper, and I feel bad. It makes me feel guilty. These are easier on paper. So I got 2 sets, and I had to take one of these out because this is all I have left of my previous quick eraser. See. So this is the one I'm currently using. It's already used up quite a bit. When I went to the art supplies place, there were quite a number of these colored these click erasers, push click erasers. So I got 10 of them. I want to get a variety of colors, but you might notice I have a specific favorite color. And without further ado, I guess I'll be opening a new box or a can. But keep in mind that none of them are sharpened, and I don't intend to sharpen. Even though I have my manual pencil sharpeners right here, I don't intend to sharpen any of these today on video. It won't be until I start with my next big drawing on big construction paper. By the way, when I'm done with it, when I'm done with the big drawing, I roll it up and put it in this paper towel, cardboard paper towel roll. And that's what I did in high school. There might be people watching this video right now frowning on my methods and say, no, that's not the way to preserve it. They might be mad at me. But, well, I guess if I'm wrong, I'll learn eventually. Okay. Oh, yeah, and this is a ruler I use. And I've used it actually since elementary school. It's lasted all these years. I still have it. All right. Here we go. I have to use my Sanrio brand Stegosaurus scissors. Also, which I've had since elementary school. Perhaps, if I knew how to edit videos, I'd add dramatic music here. So, like with the other boxes, there are supposed to be 48 colors in here. Apparently it opens this way. Oh, they are sharpened already. That was quite a surprise for me. Because when I got these other ones in high school, they weren't sharpened at all. So they look like this. Not as sharp as I would like when I use them to draw. But that can be rectified, I guess. Okay, so this is the lilac. This is from my second lilac. Or I mean my lilac from second box. This is from my third box. So Parma Violet, I think, corresponds with Parma Violet from the previous two boxes. So Parma Violet from my previous two boxes, Parma Violet from the third box. And like with I think at least one of my previous boxes, there's a silver and a gold. Although these are tricky to use because when you use a gold colored pencil, it doesn't really look what you expect gold to look like. tray, second tray. Wonder if there's anything under there. No, there isn't. Putting it back. You know, I wonder if there's, you know, if there's a reason, if I should, you know, put it. So they grouped the blues together like this, greens over here. But I wonder if there's a special reason why, you know, some of them are on the bottom here and some are on top. I mean, you know, is there some type of logic to that? You might notice I've gotten mine mixed up. My old box is mixed up. It'll probably happen to this box too. Everything seems to be in order, but of course the real test is when I actually get to drawing something. Perhaps it could be my next realistic Bowser in color, or it might be some other monster. You might be wondering, do I draw people? Actually, yes, I have been practicing. I've been trying to draw sort of this comic book character who sort of looks like Grace Kelly. But you know, the standards with drawing people are a lot more difficult. Therefore, I'm much shyer about showing off my drawings with people than I am with my dragons and monsters and dinosaurs, because people have harsher standards when judging a realistic drawing of a human being. The idea is that if you draw a Tyrannosaurus Rex and you make a very glaring inaccuracy, such as giving it 3 fingers on each hand, very few people will notice. A scientist will notice, a dinosaur nerd will notice, but most people, you know, like 40-year-old ladies, they won't notice at all. But I noticed that if you try to draw a beautiful woman, like say Grace Kelly, if you make even the slightest mistake, such as making, you know, making her chin too big or something like that, and you show it to people, they'll say, "That's not right. It doesn't look anything like her." I think the reason for this is that for clear reasons, we're most familiar with the human face. We're familiar with how human beings look, and we're especially familiar with how, you know, conventionally good-looking people, how their faces are proportioned, because we see them everywhere. We go to the drugstore and we see Vogue magazine. We see, you know, Vogue magazine, and we see Charlize Theron on the cover of magazines. So, you know, we're accustomed to seeing that type of face. So we have this, even if we don't consciously think, well, you know, the eyes have to be so and so far apart, and the cheekbones should be this side. We don't consciously think that. We have this general idea of how a human face should look, because, you know, it's familiar. By contrast, you know, how most people are not familiar with how a Tyrannosaurus Rex is supposed to look, or with how, say, our friend Bowser is supposed to look. Therefore, if you make a mistake, you know, very few people will pounce on it. But I thank you for watching. I will continue with trying to draw humans and creatures alike. Perhaps one day I'll be brave enough to show you my drawings of human beings. And of course, I'll keep up with my monsters. I hope I'm not done with realistic Bowser yet. I want to try again. I want to do a version where the lines are more defined. I want to do a version where that's more three-dimensional looking. I don't know if I'll accomplish that because unexpected things can happen. My plans can be derailed. But tentatively speaking, those are my short-term plans for the future. And I thank you for watching.